Hello everyone and thanks for watching Edupedia videos. Today we are going to learn the Minimum Wages Act 1948. Let us see the objectives of the Act. This Act, when we are going to study, we will ensure that we restrict our focus to the concept of wages to the workers. Let us see the objectives of the Act. To provide minimum wages to the workers working in an organized sector. Second, to stop the exploitation of the workers. Third, to empower the government to take steps for fixing minimum wages and to revising it in a timely manner. To apply this law on most of the sections in organized sector in case of scheduled employment. Let us see what are the broad features of the Act. In the section 3, it is mentioned that the Act lays down the principles for the fixation of number 1, minimum time rate of wages, number 2, minimum piece rate, number 3, a guaranteed time rate, an overtime rate for different occupations, localities or classes of work and for adults, adolescents, children and apprentices. The section 4 mentions the minimum wages may consist of number 1, basic rate of wages and a cost of living of allowances. Number 2, basic rate of wages with or without the cost of living allowance and the cash value of the concessions in respect of essential commodities supplied at concessional rates. Let us see who all are eligible. Number 1, the permanent employees. Number 2, contract employees. Number 3, casual workers. Number 4, people on probation get fixed pay instead of minimum wages. And number 5, trainees get stipend and not minimum wages. This Act extends to the whole of India. Let us see the definition of wages. Section 2H defines minimum wages as all remuneration capable of being paid in money terms for work done if terms of contract were fulfilled. It also consists of basic plus dearness allowance plus house rent allowance. Every 5 years, basic rates of every industry are decided by Minimum Wages Committee. Dearness allowance changes every 6 months and is decided by the government. Here the government means either central government, railway or state government. There are other definitions like child, adolescent, adult, competent authority, cost of living index, employer, scheduled employment, employee, etc., which are mentioned in this Act, plus the other labor laws. The definition in every Act related to these concepts would be generally same, and we will see them in other acts. In this Act, we are just going to restrict ourselves to the concept of wages. Different minimum wages may be fixed by the government for different employments which are specified in the schedule. Different classes of employees, example, skilled, unskilled, semi-skilled, etc., of work in the same employments, adults, adolescents, children and apprentices, different localities. Segregation. Minimum rates of wages may be fixed by any one or more of the following wage periods, namely by the hour, by the day, by the month, by such other larger wage period as may be prescribed, and where such rates are fixed by the day or by the month, the manner of calculating wages for a month or for a day as the case may be indicated. Different minimum wages may be fixed by the government In section 4, it is mentioned that basic plus special allowance, which varies with the cost of living index. Second, basic plus cash value of concessional supply of materials like food, clothes, etc. Third, an all-inclusive rate, which includes basic plus cost of living allowance plus cash value of concessional supply of materials, is fixed by the government. Here the government means central government or railway or state government or any other appropriate government mentioned as per the Act. Section 5 mentions how the fixing of minimum rates of wages happens. It says the government publish its proposals in the official gazette asking comments from the affected parties. Later, they constitute the committees or subcommittees for the purpose. The committees and subcommittees and advisory boards constituted by the government consists of equal number of members of employers, employees and independent person. Section 12 explains the payment of minimum rate of wages. It says the minimum wages has to be paid without any deductions other than statutory deductions. Payment of wages less than minimum wages on the grounds of less performance or output is illegal. The documents like annual returns, muster roll, register of wages, wage slip are all the important documents which help in the payment of minimum rate of wages. Section 3 mentions the normal working hours for different types of employees. It says, for an adult worker working in factories, the number of working hours should not exceed 48 hours in a week with a weekly holiday. Number 2, the daily hours should not exceed more than 9 hours with compulsory 1 hour rest interval. Number 3, provision of compensatory holiday, overtime wages if working on holiday has to be paid. Section 14 mentions the provision for overtime wages. It explains, if the person has worked for more than 48 hours in a week, then the excess hours worked will be treated as overtime. Overtime wage rate will be twice of the normal wage rate. Wages for a person who has worked less than normal working hours is explained in section 15. It says, if an employer could not provide the activities of the job, then the employee is entitled to receive full salary. Employee has not worked due to his unwillingness, then the employee is not entitled to receive full salary. There are different records which are to be maintained. There are different registers which are to be maintained, and it is explained in section 18. It says the registers should contain the following particulars. 1. Particulars of employed persons. 2. The work performed by them. 3. The wages paid to them. 4. The receipts given by them. Other records like annual returns, muster roll, register of wages, wage slip are also important documents. They are treated as records and they should be maintained properly. Section 20 explains about the provision of claims. A labor commissioner or any other appointed authority is authorized to hear claims regarding non-payment of minimum wages. Any aggrieved person may apply to the authority for settling his claims within 6 months. We have seen the provisions of Minimum Wages Act 1948 with respect to wages. There are few more labor laws which we will see in our future videos. Thanks for watching Edupedia videos.